Okay, we're a minute late, but I mean, I'm tired, so I'm not even thinking right today. So sorry about that. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
How do you do?
This is the show where Ashley takes center stage every single Wednesday night.
Never drew a dime.
And once again, we show up on Raw Monday night with Aaron in Cleveland for one more time, and we make the announcement that ended up coming to fruition.
Probably.
Yeah. Goodbye, Enzo.
Yeah, well, from what we can tell from that, because we might as well mention that here, because it probably is the biggest story of the week.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It gets complicated because now apparently there's video and sort of content out proving that she may have consented. Possibly.
Well, what it sounds like from what I keep seeing and what I've read the last couple hours said something about it seems like this was basically the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, yeah, because what I'm saying is, yeah, if you look at the messages that apparently she's received from some of the parties involved or whatever, it sort of does imply that the woman may not have been raped and that she consented. Either way, because of the police investigation that's been going on since I think October.
Yep.
Since it's happening, the straw that broke the camel's back wasn't the actual what happened and whether it did or didn't happen.
The fact that they didn't tell him,
that'll obviously get sorted out in the courts and the proceedings and whatever. It's the fact that he didn't tell WWE for what, 2 months? And the only way they found out was this person's Twitter over the weekend.
He made a very big mistake.
You know, if he's turned out to be innocent, and basically we have got a woman crying wolf, don't expect him ever back in the WWE. Whether the indies will want to touch him, that's questionable, especially when we saw the bloody backlash and everything to the sexual accused guys, at least in the UK. Part of me sort of does wonder whether, you know, we're going to have more of that still develop and everything.
I'm more worried about the fact that, I mean, we make this reference all the time. Like, Impact is really quick to pick up anybody WWE casts aside. I honestly can see if this happens, I really think it's possible he'll end up signing with Impact.
Which might be a bit of an issue.
Might be.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Might be. Yeah.
I've never been a fan of his work. I mean, he's a good talker. That's about it. So, I mean, I guess there's some sort of a petition going around to try to get him re-signed.
So if it turns out that he is guilty of raping that person, despite what seems to have developed in terms of evidence supporting the case, the thing is, the pictures that I've seen are screenshots of Facebook Messenger stuff.
Right.
And obviously with a lot of that, you could doctor it as much as you want. But with that being out there, you know, we'll let that be settled over what it is. the truth will hopefully out, whether it be, the allegation is true or the innocent are true, whatever. But yeah, Enzo's conduct in sort of not revealing it to them, even privately, is a stupid move.
Yeah, it's like he knew that he was about to get thrown under the bus, and WWE could have done something about it if they would have had advanced knowledge, or they kind of like just sprung up out of nowhere, and they basically got their hand forced to do something about it.
People are trying to compare it to Swan and his suspension, which is different because it was an incident that happened in the time, and
Right.
obviously WWE, might not have been directly through Swan, but were made aware of it, within 24, 48 hours
Right.
of the incident happening. This is 2 months. In fact, no. If it was mid-October, then it would have been 3 months, wouldn't it? It's November, December, January. So in that respect, that is unforgivable, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really rubbing people the wrong way for a while, like all the stuff, like going back to like the Mayweather fight and everything, like bragging about paying the money for the fight, and then he really rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way, and he became basically a pariah in the locker room, and no one wanted to work with him, and he's changing by himself now. It's just like he really has been going down a slippery slope for a while now.
So yeah, I sort of do want to say, even if he is guilty or innocent, still good riddance. I wouldn't say he was a bad influence, but he was enough of a bad apple to sort of warrant, him being got rid of to try and not affect morale any further. Who knows what the shit's going to happen with the title now, because, we'll get to it in the 205 Live review, but there ain't going to be any cruiserweight action, at least that I know of, at the Rumble. Because the title is held in abeyance until at least 205 Live next week. So even if there's cruiserweight stuff on Raw, we'll have to see. So, shall we start off with Smackdown?
Yeah.
A pretty interesting show. Because Owens and Zayn started off talking about how AJ, AJ's the one that wanted the handicap match, and he's the one that'd be willing to face people, both of them in the same night if he had to. And, AJ sort of, he comes out during all this stuff as well, and, makes it, it's a good sort of little promo segment. So then Daniel Bryan comes out and says, yeah, Kevin, Sammy, you are two of the best guys to step in the ring, and you're also right about how difficult it is to win the handicap match. But then he says he's got the utmost faith in AJ, and AJ's like, look, I don't need your help because I don't even know if you're in bed with those two. But if they think that they can beat me in back-to-back matches, let's find out. And I won't just beat them, I'll hurt them. Then back from the ads, Shane's like, what are you going to be putting AJ in those matches anyway? Daniel's like, I've got faith in him. Are you questioning, whether AJ has the ability to defend himself tonight? And Shane's just like, no, I'm not questioning his ability, and then walks out. And it's like, you do know just because your name's McMahon, you are going to get booed. They really don't. They really are thinking that Daniel Bryan's going to get booed.
I don't know how they believe this is even going to happen.
If it's the case, they'll have to start pre-recording Smackdown to add in the boos.
Oh, boy.
So now we get... Oh, and as Ross from Cultaholic rightfully pointed out, great to have an episode of bloody Ride Along featuring the Usos, considering what came out last week. Nice little irony there. So yeah, Jey Uso versus Chad Gable. Chad wins with the Chaos Theory. Pretty decent match. So I'm guessing that means probably Usos retain 2-1, would you say?
Probably. I mean, that's a good bet at this point. I don't think it's time to take the titles off of them just yet.
But I feel it isn't going to be a clean sweep as well.
No way.
So Renee's with Nakamura. And he's like, whoever comes in, knee to the face. Knee to the face. And then Baron's just like, Baron Corbin comes in and says, you know, the WWE Universe cares about you. I don't. You know, my resume speaks volumes. Lost Money in the Bank. Did fuck all after winning Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's a good start, isn't it?
Pretty much.
So Nakamura says, let's rumble tonight. Ty Dillinger cuts a... Apparently this is the new trend now, mobile phone promos. Because we saw a shit ton of it.
That's fine.
No, but like not... Part of them you can tell are them holding the phone or whatever. But the other time, it's somebody else holding it, so why don't you just do it with a proper camera? I don't get it. Anyway, Dillinger's in the Rumble. Naomi Liv Morgan. Thankfully, Naomi won. And then we had to obviously do Rumble hype with Naomi and Becky ending up. Well, people got thrown out, people got thrown in, whatever. But then when it ended with Naomi and Becky, because I think Naomi got thrown out or whatever. Becky threw Naomi over the top onto the apron. As if to tease, whoa, what's going on? Then Charlotte comes out. It's like every woman for themselves, and that's why friendship and alliances don't work. And she wishes luck to everybody, especially the winner. And immediately, as soon as she said that, I'm going, fucking Ronda's winning, isn't she?
Yep.
Which is why I'm still going for Asuka. Nakamura versus Corbin was like your typical Nakamura match from Japan. Problem is his opponent was like average. Got good at the end with like Deep Six and End of Days and everything. And then the finish was pretty good at the end as well. Nakamura goes for the Kinshasa. RKO out of nowhere. And then Orton gives Corbin an RKO. And Orton looks even more like a twat. He's looking as thin as a bloody 205 Live wrestler. And his hair looks absolutely stupid. So whatever. So now the New Day come out. And they're going to be in the Rumble. And then they do the combined stuff with Bobby Roode for their entrance. So they're facing Aiden English, Rusev, and Jinder. The faces get the win, with Xavier actually getting the win, pinning, I think, Jinder? No, it was on English, yeah. Because there was the giant Kofi and Bobby dive outside onto Rusev and Jinder. But yeah, Xavier got a springboard elbow drop for the win. So then we're getting for the main event, but then Shane comes out and says to Sammy, if you interfere in Kevin's match, you get fired. And the same goes for Kevin for Sammy's match. So AJ versus KO was very interesting because it only went about 2 minutes. Because Styles kicked Owens in the leg, put on the calf crusher, and Owen taps. And AJ refused to relinquish the hold for about 10 seconds. And then Zayn beats up Styles and being away, and they're basically making out as if Kevin's in a really bad shape. Eventually it gets to Sami Zayn and AJ. And the real interesting thing is Kevin's at ringside because he's being treated to by the doctors. Because the idea is that he's legit injured. And a couple of times, Styles just goes over to Owens and kicks him in the injured knee and attacks him again. And this sort of plays into the end. He hits his sliding knee off the apron, then gets off the apron and pushes Owens off the stretcher that he's now been put on. Gets in the ring, immediately hit with an haluva kick, followed by the Blue Thunder Bomb and the 3 count. Yeah, the signature was the finisher. Wow. For a change. So yeah, AJ, because he was a dick, lost that match. And they stand over AJ triumphantly. So I think on that logic, AJ's retaining.
That's bad booking, though.
But something's going to happen.
I really think they need to run with the co-champions idea. I think that would be great.
I don't, because the last time that happened, it was Lay Call, and that was atrocious.
Well, this is not even close to that.
Yes, but if they don't do it right...
It's the most over act on the brand right now.
Yeah.
Well, besides like Rusev Day, but I mean...
But I still sense that something's coming down the line in terms of it will be something else completely that will lead to what I fear is going to be Shane versus Bryan.
I said Owens and Zayn for the world title at WrestleMania. Maybe I'm just a year off. That's what I want to see. You can still do AJ and Nakamura. You don't have to have the title on the line. There's no reason to have the title on the line.
There is another theory that's out there. I'm sticking with Nakamura, but the other one makes sense. AJ keeps the belt.
And Sammy or Owens win the Rumble.
No. Ziggler.
No.
Ziggler shows up from out of nowhere. Because logically, part of me is feeling they're going to transition Owens and Zayn into the tag division.
I hope they're not stupid enough to do that.
Because I want to see Steen Erico have the fucking tag titles.
I want to see them hold the world title at the same time. Could you imagine the promos?
Yes, but it's Vince. He'll fuck it up.
I don't think so. Not
Yeah.
this time. Not
really?
this time.
Oh, he already fucked up Nakamura. He nearly fucked up Rude.
Yeah, the jury's still out on a couple things, but I mean, the Rumble. It's like the thing is with the Rumble this year. It's like nobody cares. Raw didn't give us any reason to care about the Rumble. SmackDown gave us a little bit. Like Ziggler coming back, you know what? At this point, I would fine if they really want to commit to pushing him. But I'm at the point now. I'm believing that they think he's a lost cause. He's not, but they're believing that's the case.
So I'm actually now thinking about it logically. Raw has to win the Rumble this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know who it would be at this point. Nope.
The sad one is the obvious one, but that ain't gonna happen.
They're not gonna do it. They've already made the mistake before. They're not doing it again.
Unless they've made us forget about Balor for a reason.
You know, I mean, at this point, Balor working with The Miz for the Intercontinental title seems to be the only option I can think of. Let The Miz win the Rumble. He deserves it.
Yeah, but I'm wondering whether the whole, Balor isn't over thing might be some sort of reverse psychology thing, and it's like, let's give him a chance.
They have to commit to him. I mean, they gave him the Universal title right off the bat, and he never really had a chance to make up for it.
Exactly. He never really got the true gloriness of that. So now we get to mixed match challenge. Big E throwing pancakes at Corey. Because of course he is. And Carmella, who were all, and New Day did come out, and all of them were in Carmella leotards.
Oh my god.
Or basically Carmella leotards. And Carmella's leotard was in sort of New Day turquoise and whatever. And Miz and Asuka were just Miz and Asuka. Then there was an awkward, this isn't scripted. Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryan thanking everybody for 35 million views of content on the Facebook page. I haven't seen a single thing on the fucking Facebook page. Mainly because it's not even allowed here. Also, as well, in knowledge to Carmella, New Day had Money in the Bank lunch boxes. Oh, that was awesome. They had a pretty good match, admittedly. Lana and Rusev were watching in the social media room. But yeah, Asuka puts on the Asuka lock. Carmella has to tap. Miz basically pulling Big E off the apron to make sure that he couldn't sort of break it up. So then Yeah. We get next week. So Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch are there, and it's like, you know, they haven't worked out, I guess, which plan they're going to do. And then we get, before that, Bliss and Braun. Oh my god. So Braun is like, there, we're going to destroy the competition. And then he moves the camera, or Bliss sort of comes out from behind him. And she's like, that'll be complete bliss. And he puts like a really sort of cheesy grin, reaches up, pats Alexa on the head behind her, and then just goes into mean face again. And it's like, yes, this is why Strowman has to win next week. I fear they won't, though. That's just the annoying bit.
Who are they working?
Zayn and Lynch.
No, I have a feeling they'll probably go over.
Hang on, where's the... I want to see the bracket again, just to double check. So then again, looking at it, the second quarterfinal is going to be... Well, the second quarterfinal, even though there's only going to be 3 of them. Whoever wins that faces either Goldust and Alicia Fox or Jimmy Uso and Naomi. So then part of me is going, realistically, they're going to try and book a Raw versus Smackdown final, aren't they?
Yeah.
With the first quarterfinal being Raw, I guess you could do Braun and Bliss versus Uso and Naomi.
That's a horrible idea.
Well, it's better than Goldust and Alicia.
Yeah.
Because part of me is feeling, because by the time we get to week 10, so in 2 months' time, we'll be literally like 2 weeks before WrestleMania, won't we?
Yeah.
So if you have there Miz and Asuka versus Strowman and Bliss,
that makes the most sense.
Then again, if that's how the bracket goes, and whoever is in the final set of 2 matches faces the second chance fan vote people, which who knows whether it is. Byron Saxton didn't give a shit about being on the show last night because Renee just did the interview herself with Miz and Asuka. And Miz goes, Miz translate what Asuka says, like, she's learned more about being a champ from me than anybody in her life. She's learned to be a winner from me. We dominated tonight and we'll dominate the entire tournament because we are Oscar. Like, yes, I got a tag team name. Yes, it's Oscar. So yeah. So then we get into 205 Live. Cold open. Daniel Bryan goes, Enzo Amore has abdicated the Cruiserweight title. Is that an interesting phrase? And Daniel says, how he was a part of the Cruiserweight Classic and how it led to 205 Live. But next week, a general manager will be named. And their first act will be to make a decision about what happens for the Cruiserweight title. And the way it was said from the words, it really was implied that the general manager will be revealed on 205 Live next week rather than on Raw. Part of me feels it'll have to be on Raw because if they want people to watch, because otherwise people probably won't care. So we have a 6-man with Mask of Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Lince Dorado versus, why are these guys still employed? TJ Perkins, Araya Davari, and Tony Nese. Pretty good match for a 6-man. Nese just randomly gets on the apron for some reason to try and interfere when Perkins sort of has him up for the detonation kick, Dorado that is, but Dorado manages to get out. Dorado then hits a springboard cutter on TJ and gets the win, and then TJ throws a tantrum afterwards, and Nese and Davari push Perkins down, don't give a shit about him. Then the most important thing happens. Drew Gulak shows up in a promo with a lectern and goes, I stand for a better 205 Live, and I support the decision to appoint the general manager. Because we need a general manager with the right values to stop all this flying, stop all the chanting, stop all the flipping and the flopping. We need a general manager who will turn 205 Live into a Drewtopia. And I'm going, yes! 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 No, yep. Whatever, we chant. So before we get Gallagher versus Atami has an inset promo saying, injuries happen. What happened to Kendrick was an accident. I respect him. Gallagher, fuck him. Atami wins with a face buster because, yeah, the GTS isn't happening.
A face
brilliant.
buster.
I didn't know what. It was sort of a reverse face buster.
I have to see it for myself so I know what
He
you're
had
referring
him up
to.
in the. Oh, what's the submission move that he does? Dragon Sleeper.
Tommy?
Yeah.
I have to see because
I think he had him in a Dragon's. It was a move that I haven't really seen him do before.
Again, I have to see it for myself so I know what you're talking about. Continue. I'll look into it and see if I can figure it out.
Then Tazar was there saying, oh, I could be a good boss, and just randomly goes up to somebody and goes, you're fired. And then walks away smiling. And like he's even doing the Vince strut. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Tazar was awesome. So then Cedric's back on his phone saying the Rumble was supposed to be my time, but my mission won't change. I will become champion. So he faces Mustafa Ali. This was a very good match, if only for the fact that Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness were calling it. Because it was the same sort of caliber that you'd get on a good match on Raw. Except because you got two people that actually care about it because it's their only jobs, rather than, Michael Cole and Corey, who does everything, and Booker. Shit, one of my guys in my promotion is a convicted murderer. Or, not convicted yet, I guess. Alleged murderer. They've got enough issues on their hands anyway, so. Getting to a point that, it does make sense that these guys are putting their passion into it and everything in terms of commentary. Part of me is now feeling they should just have them do commentary for the cruiserweight matches even on Raw, because it's a much better experience. Cedric wins with a lumbar check and everything. So yeah, So I just noticed that the bloody. I'm trying to work out now, just by the charities, who's now going to be winning in the Mixed Match Challenge. Because next week it's Connor's Cure versus UNICEF. Which one do you think they're going to go for? You know, the one that WWE is basically involved with, or UNICEF? Then again, that being said, they shat on Make-A-Wish. But then again, that's because Make-A-Wish was up against Special Olympics. So I guess either way, WWE was screwing over somebody. And also I noticed that Nia Jackson Apollo Crews' team is Susan G. Komen. And Flair and Bobby Roode are girl up. So it's like, if Susan G. Komen wins, expect no more pink ropes ever in October, I guess. I guess that's the WWE look. I need to quickly grab my dinner. So I don't know if there's anybody in chat for you to fill in for the next minute or two, but I need to grab my food.
So yeah, judging by what I'm seeing right now, I saw the match in question, and it appears to be a version of it's like a Rings of Saturn mixed with I'm trying to think how to describe it, with like an octopus. The best way to describe it that I can think of to describe it would be like combining those two together. I mean, actually, in all essence, I'm pretty sure it's the old Kenta Game Over. It's a omoplata crossface, which is funny because lately when it's exactly what it is. Thank you. When Atami came back, he is now like full-fledged Kenta, like down to his gear and everything. Like he's wearing his old gear. I know because I remember when we made Kenta itself, and I don't remember which game, one of the WWE games on PlayStation. And I remember making Kenta, and he looked identical to what he looks like now. And when he returned back from injury, what he's been wearing. So yeah, that's exactly what it was. So yeah, I just wanted to make that known real quick here on the podcast because can't really think of anything else to talk about right now, given the fact that I've been so busy, I haven't been able to watch anything. So needless to say, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll fill time basically talking about the fact that he's using an old Kenta maneuver as his new finish, his submission finish in WWE. So talk about great timing. Ashley's back.
Did you have you managed to catch a clip yet of that?
Well, since you were away, I can't like jump your case for not hearing what I just said. But yeah, I literally just brought it up. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Was I right in Dragon Sleeper sort of to a face bust? Well, whatever.
No, not really. It was the best way to describe it without with going into technical terminology. It was a Rings of Saturn or like an Agata lock mixed with a grounded octopus. It's an old Kenta finish he used to have called Game Over.
Right.
The actual terminology is a mixed martial arts term of an omoplata crossface. And since he's still dressing like the Kenta of old, it makes sense he's using that as his maneuver.
Yeah, that does fit.
Can't use GTS obviously because, well, reasons. And he can't use the beside your knee because obviously we have somebody that might be using it in the very near future. Already on the roster.
Nixon Newell.
Doubtful.
Nixon Newell's going to do it.
And now you move forward.
Because the shiningest wizard, you know. So what do we move on to next?
Well, as always, with the schedule on Wednesday, it's pretty clear. The next thing we're going to talk about is mixed martial arts and the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Welcome, Jeremy Mills, to chat.
Not just that this week, because we got the Tour of Bells as well, because
okay,
because it was a double header. Friday we had Bellator 192. Actually, no, sorry, it was a double header on Saturday, head to head. I'll go through the Bellator one first because there was about 79 matches on that card, but the main card was pretty solid. 4 of the 5 matches actually did go to unanimous decision, so a bit crazy. So started off with Henry Corrales beating Georgi Karakayan by unanimous decision. Then Aaron Pico beat Shane Crutchin, also in the featherweight, with a 37-second knockout via a good old stiff body punch. And then the rest being decisions. Michael Chandler beating Goto Yamuchi quite easily because there was 2 30-26s and a 30-25. So on that logic, one of the judges gave 2 10-8s. So Chandler was pretty much sorted. And then Roy McDonald beat Douglas Lima in the co-main to win the Bellator welterweight title. Judges were all over the board on this. It was still unanimous, but we had a 49-45, a 49-46, and a 48-47. So all over the shop. And then across the board, 29-28 saw Chael Sonnen beat Quentin Rampage Jackson, despite the fact that Sonnen, I think, was 20 or 30 pounds lighter. Which in theory shouldn't happen in an MMA fight. You know, the guy with the bulk should be, you know, the stronger. But there you go. So then UFC over in the Boston Garden. 2 Fight Pass prelims saw Islam Makhachev beat Gleison Thibault in the lightweights, and Enrique Barzola beat Matt Bessette via decision in the featherweight. Then on the Fox Sports 1 prelims, Julio Arca beat Dan Ige via decision in the featherweights. Also in the featherweights for the main event, we had Carl Bochniak beat Brandon Davis. And then in between, the flyweight bout with Justin Ortiz beating Alexandra Pantoja, a unanimous decision as well. And Abdul Razak Al Hassan beating Sabah Hamasi with a knockout punch with about a minute and change left in the first round in the welterweight. That was enough to get him a $50,000 bonus for that performance there. Then for the main card, we started off with Rob Font beating Thomas Almeida with a TKO midway through the second. Gian Vellante beat Francimir Barroso by a split decision. This was a weird one because 2 of the judges gave it 30-27 to Vellante for winning, but the other judge gave it 29-28 to Barroso. So it was either 3-0 or 1-2. That's a bit of an odd one. Then, in what got the 50,000 bonus fight of the night for both fighters, Calvin Kattar beat Shane Burgos very early on in the third of the final round via punches with a TKO. Then in your co-main, DC Daniel Cormier beat Volkan Ozdemir midway through the second via TKO to retain that light heavyweight title. In the interview afterwards, he basically implied that when he turns 40, he retires, which I believe is next March. So on that logic, you're only going to be seeing at least, I'd say, 3, possibly 4 fights from him before then. And then the main event, Stipe Miocic comfortably beat Francis Ngannou. All 3 judges gave it 50-44. So there was at least a 10-8 in one of the rounds. And to be quite honest, I'm amazed Ngannou got even to the end of the fight, because he looked winded and exhausted by the end of the second. And he just about managed to hold on somehow. So Miocic comfortably, on paper, it looked, like it could be an interesting one, but who knows what happened. By the way, as well, Cormier did get a 50,000 bonus for his win as well. Moving into this weekend stuff before we get to a little bit of news. UFC on Fox this Saturday, Charlotte, North Carolina at the Spectrum hosts UFC on Fox 27. That's ironic because it's on the 27th. To be honest, there's nobody of big name status, I would say, on the prelims. Although it is worth noting that there's going to be 3 women's matches back to back on the Fox Sports 1 portion of the show, which I think is a first. There might have been 3 women's matches overall, but not sort of bunched together like they were. The main card, though, over on Fox on Saturday, because I guess it isn't on Sunday because it's competing with the Pro Bowl, is it? Is the Pro Bowl Sunday or is the Pro Bowl Monday? This is where we need sports people in the chat to tell me. Oh no, Pro Bowl's in Orlando at WrestleMania 33.
Yeah, it's the same. It's in Camping World.
Oh, 3 p.m. Eastern start.
Yeah, it's literally the same time as the last day of celebration of Harry Potter this Sunday. Jeremy Mills wants to say thank you for introducing Charlie Morgan.
You see? She can wrestle. Unlike Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
To be honest, just go watch Pro Wrestling Eve. They've got a lot of women's wrestlers that are better than most of their main roster. In all honesty. Especially, when bloody Arja Kong is coming over for there in May. So yeah, the main card on Fox starts off with a welterweight division fight between Drew Dober and Frank Camacho. Next up, we've got a lightweight division bout with Jordan Rinaldi versus Gregor Gillespie. Next, Dennis Bermudez versus Andre Fili in the featherweight division. And the main event, in a rematch from Strikeforce back in 2012, Ronald Souza, a.k.a. Jacare, versus Derek Brunson. When they fought each other about 5.5 years ago, Jacare won with a first-round knockout. Will it change? Will anybody care? Find out after no messages. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Or something. Wow. So with the news, I guess the big thing is tentatively scheduled as it stands for Fight Week, which is, I think, July. They're going to be having Amanda Nunes, versus Chris Cyborg. In terms of what's going with that, who knows? Because obviously that's way far ahead. They did have some there was some odd stuff that was announced at the press conference. They seem to be implying that Conor was being stripped of the title because of the match that was coming up for the middleweight title or what? Or no, sorry, is it the lightweight title that he has? I don't remember. But then it was sort of like backed off as if to go, yeah, that isn't an issue or whatever. And then the one that was sounded really serious, Apparently, Robert Whittaker has basically got the same thing that Brock had in diverticulitis. Because there is some sort of infection that is literally eating away at his intestines. So it's that serious. But because they didn't say any more, it was like people were trying to get info, and part of me doesn't even know whether that was supposed to be made public, but they said it. So, like, who knows? Yeah, and just quickly see if there's anything else. Nate Diaz has teased that he might be coming back somewhere before the end of June, with Eddie Alvarez then sort of tweeting back saying May, June is perfect. See you then. So it seems like we might be getting Alvarez Diaz, or at least that's what he wants. Bisping is considering the offer to have his retirement fight at the UFC London show. But the interesting note is his manager, his wife, and all his friends don't want him to fight. But Bisping says he likes the opponent that I guess is lined up, but they haven't announced. And the only question is whether he's going to keep fighting. We'll have to see there. And in regards to International Fight Week, because I'm just looking at the news from today, Demetrius Johnson wants TJ Dillashaw, apparently. But on a stat card where he's going to make a bigger payday. Hence why he obviously wants Fight Week, because that's normally, one of the big ones. So logically, because there was a... Cyborg was basically saying she would only be on a card if she was the main event. The only issue is if Johnson and Dillashaw was on it, that would probably, cross that off the list, and Johnson Dillashaw would be the main event. The interesting deal with all of this is, when you think about it, all these two matches, and the fact as well that they've teased Cormier versus Miocic, we seem to be getting a lot of interweight rivalries that are going on now. I guess it all got started by Conor. When he stepped up and faced Aldo. The different weight class. Or the other way around, I can't remember. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants to fight everybody in different weight divisions. So it's weird how that's going on, shall we say, and how it's developing. So there you go. I think that'll do with the UFC. There's anything else major that I'm completely forgetting about, bring it up in the comments and everything.
Ring of Honor.
So you always have to remind me because I've got all this stuff running about in my head. Ring of Honor's TV tapings. Well, for this week, we'll get to in a bit. But we're back at the ECW arena. So we started off with the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Dogs. This wasn't too bad a match. Admittedly, most of it was just like Machine Gun sort of putting them, looking strong. Because obviously Rhett Titus and Will Ferreira are obviously not that well, because they've only just really started up as a tag team. It would be unfair to sort of give them too much to shine on and everything. Sabin pinned Ferreira after quite a few of the signature moves that obviously the Guns have. But then afterwards, the Briscoes came out with a mic, congratulated the Guns on their win. And they consider the tag titles their property and intend to reclaim them. So now we're backstage with SoCal Uncensored. approaching Shane Taylor with an envelope. They were heading to the ring on business and wanted to make sure no Bullet Club members crashed the party. Taylor just went, "You write the check, I'll put them down." Like, nice to know. But if the check didn't clear, he would find them. Because, you know, he's Liam Neeson. And then Kenny King cut a very interesting promo regarding his late mother telling him to keep his head on a swivel. But, you know, that he didn't follow that advice back at Final Battle and took a beer bottle to the head. But he won't let that, all last week's antics with Malonis, Young, and the Bruiser stop him from getting back on his golden throne. Good promo from Kenny. So we next had Josh Wood versus Jonathan Gresham, which Gresham pretty comfortably won. Although it was an interesting move. It was a roll-up into a bridged pin. And they did shake hands afterwards, so... Interesting stuff there. So then we had Caprice Coleman's pulpit with coast to coast of Ali and Giovanni. And, you know, if they don't win their next match, Coleman had them confirm that if they don't win their next match, they're breaking up. And they're basically like, we don't want to break up, but it's got to a point where the losses over and over have become way too frustrating. And then Coleman's like, "Was this your idea, Ali?" And Ali said, "Yeah." And then, of course, Caprice went, "Well, I guess we know who the weak link is." And, you know, Coleman's stirring up the shit. And then he announced, "By the way, your next match is against War Machine." So I like that in terms of they're going to give these guys an upset win. Obviously. Because, you know, when you leave the company, you go out on your back. LOL! So Cody now is out and says he was victim to his hubris and tasted defeat. You know, I'm no longer world champion. And Dalton was the better man at Final Battle. No, Cody had spent 13 years pining for a world title. Dalton, have your fun, because I'm guaranteed my rematch. And while I don't have the Ring of Honor title, I still have the Ring of Honor. And then the Kingdom came out. And Taven was basically saying how he's beaten everybody in Ring of Honor, but gets looked over for people like Cody. And that Cody was handed the title. You know, the synopsis of his career would be an ungrateful and undeserving brat became a bleach-bottomed bitch. And Cody basically wanted Taven to kiss the ring, which Taven did, and then he kicked Cody in the balls. So that's the next angle. Then it was time for the Best Friends versus Dragon Lee and Titan versus the Young Bucks. Because, of course, it is. The Bucks win with a Meltzer driver on Titan, but a really good job in terms of the match, for sure. Good match with them. Then afterwards, Scorpio Sky came out and distracted the Bucks, allowing Danielson Kazarian to low blow him from behind. But then Adam Page ran out with a chair to scare him off. But the great thing is, Shane Taylor, I guess, didn't do his job. But of course, you know, the big issue is Ring of Honor, unless you're an indie fan like I am, you don't know who the Best Friends are. And obviously, Dragon Lee and Titan are just like there because they're the Mexican guys. You know, the way it's just like, oh, here are these two sort of teams. Even though obviously best friends have been in for a few months and everything here and there, but they haven't really built them up or anything as anything special, despite, you know, their escapades, as Kevin would say, over the last few years. Still good. Can't remember what's coming up, at least on the tapings next week. I guess War Machine losing. So this past weekend, we had the TV tapings for the next month or two, certainly rolling into the anniversary show pay-per-view. So we had the Machine Guns and Best Friends fight to a no contest because the Briscoes interfered. Marty Scurll beat Shane Taylor, and then afterwards challenged Punishment Martinez for the Ring of Honor title if he beats Dalton. And then Martinez chokeslammed him. And then we had Cheeseburger beating Woods, Coleman, and Gresham to get a TV title shot somewhere down the line. So yes, he's over, damn it. So then the Beer City Brew, which is Brian Malonis and Beer City Bruiser. Interesting tag team name, I guess. Fought coast to coast to a DQ. Kenny King then interrupted, and it led to being a 6-man, and Kenny King and Coast to Coast won. Mandy Leon beat Madison Rain in the first round of the Women of Honor title tournament. Cody beat Matt Taven, but then afterwards the Kingdom beat the shit out of Cody. Kelly Klein beat Jesse Brooks. Then Dalton beat Punishment Martinez to retain the Ring of Honor World title. Which apparently delivered, and it was like, you know, a good showing for Martinez, considering how sort of he's been mismanaged for the past few months. Martinez destroyed the boys afterwards. And stared at Marty Scurll, who was on commentary, and then left to the back. So what's going on there? And Dalton cut basically a promo saying that, you know, it's good as it gets. I'm the Ring of Honor champ now and forever. Anybody who faces me is in a world of trouble. And he's chosen Jay Lethal to be his next challenger. So by the looks of it, Lethal and Castle is headlining the anniversary pay-per-view. Then, unsurprisingly, Brandy Rhodes beat Karen Q. Brandy faking a foot injury to get a small package win. So sort of basically equivalent to what happened with Cody and Ibushi to some extent. Jay Lethal beat Flip Gordon and said to be a pretty good match that went like 15 minutes or so. And then interestingly, Marty came in and said, I want to face Jay Lethal if he beats Dalton. So it's all the time. Scurll doesn't want to face Castle. It's like, oh, I want to challenge you if you beat Dalton. I'm guessing that's an angle somewhere down the line. And then the Hung Bucks beat SoCal Uncensored to retain the 6-man belts. SoCal actually won because the ref got distracted and pinned one of the Bucks, and you know the crowd weren't happy. So then Bully Ray shows up and says, you know, ever since Final Battle, I've been at every show, I've watched every match. Was he at the show on? Was he at the show tapings last time? I don't remember. You know, people haven't been following the rules. and they've been attacking refs. So I'm restoring order in this company. I'm now going to be Ring of Honor's special enforcer. And I'm going to enforce the code of honor, restart the match, which led into a double super kick from the Bucks, obviously, and they won with the Meltzer driver, so the titles didn't change hands. So I'm trying to work out where this is going now, because it's clearly going to be something to do with Bully Ray, not retired, but it has retired, but hasn't. So there's the honor of rings.
Should be
On
time.
that logic, I'm guessing we talk Impact.
New Japan first.
So Fantastica Mania. The three big shows from Kurikan Hall, because other stuff happened on the other shows. But not of any major note, I'd say, because we had a load of title matches on the Kurikan Hall shows. The World Middleweight title for CMLL changed hands with Quattrero beating Angel de Oro with the high angle powerbomb. Sobonara Jr. retained the National Welterweight title against Sanson with the La Soberana. And Nibela Roja retained the CMLL World Light Heavyweight title over Gran Guerrero of an Avalanche Facebuster. So, night 2 on the Sunday. In the Brothers Tag Team Tournament semi-finals, Gran Guerrero and Ultimo Guerrero beat Nibela Roja and Angel de Oro with the Guerrero special from Gran Guerrero onto Nibela Roja. And the other one, Dragon Lee and Mystico beat Sanson and Quattrero, with Mystico hitting La Mystico and Sanson. So they go through to the finals. The losers face each other as well on night 3. And we also had the NWA World Historic Welterweight title match, which was like a 20-plus minute match. Volador Jr. retaining against Barbaro Cavernario. So night 3, the losers match for the tournament saw Sanson and Quattrero beating Nibela Roja and Angel de Oro. Sanson hitting an avalanche powerbomb on Angel. In Kawato's send-off match, he lost with Barbaro Cavernario pinning him with the La Cavernaria. Kawato was teaming up with Atlantis to take on Cavernario and Gado. So Kawato's now going on his Mexican excursion. So we had Satoshi Kojima losing to Rush with a Rush driver. I'm guessing it must have been in this match when whatever happened.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Because Kojima's out for 6 months, at least. Let me see if I can get the note about it in the little bits of news that I did pick up. Yeah, New Japan announced this morning that Kojima suffered a ruptured ACL. So that's why he's going to be out for so freaking long. And then the finals, get back to it from where I was, of the tournament. Ultimo and Gran Guerrero won over Dragon Lee and Mystico. Ultimo Guerrero hitting the Guerrero special on Mystico. And that was the end of the tour. But it's not the end for New Japan, because it never is. So we have the 2 shows in Sapporo this Saturday and Sunday. So a crazy 48 hours if you also include TakeOver and the Rumble. Really. So night 1 in Hokkaido features Katsuya Kitamura's trial continuing, this time facing Michael Elgin. And the other highlighted matches that I'll pick out, Farley, Tonga, and Loa defend the six-man never openweight tag belts against Togi Makabe, Toa Hanare, and Raisuke Taguchi. So I guess that's the new Taguchi Japan. The thing is, will Hanare be listed as Juice Robinson if we're following the trend? And the other match, Tanahashi defending the Intercontinental title against Minoru Suzuki, which I'm thinking is going to be a title change, I'd have thought. And then night 2 on Sunday morning. Actually, quite literally, because that's a 3 o'clock start. So that might be... God damn it, I need to go to my place where I watch my wrestling to get the details as to when it is US time. Let's have a quick look. So yeah, the first day of Sapporo is at 4 Eastern. 4 a.m. Eastern on Saturday morning. But then that's an interesting one. So the Sapporo show on the Sunday is at 1 a.m. Eastern. So it's only really a few hours after TakeOver. So if you do want to catch that, I should probably suggest you would, because we got some good matches on this one as well. Katamura's trial continues, this time against Juice Robinson. And we've got the Young Bucks versus Sho and Yo in the rematch, which I'm not sure what's going to happen there. We could see the title swatch back.
I think they're going to drop the titles finally.
And then, I say finally, it's the first defense.
No, I'm saying that because that's what we all thought was going to happen. I think they're actually going to drop the titles this time.
And Kenny Omega puts the US title up for grabs against Jay White, which I honestly don't know about.
It depends on what's going to happen in Long Beach. Because I could see Kenny dropping the title and then moving on and beating Okada in Long Beach for the IWGP title. I could easily see them doing that.
It all depends on the New Japan Cup, really, doesn't it?
Yep.
That'll be where, logically, it could happen.
And that's what we said was going to happen. So, I mean, we're all on the same page.
Then again, would they do that because of Sakura Genesis the week after? We
shall see.
Because that's the thing. One thing they did announce this week, next Monday and Tuesday, that's the 5th and 6th of February, the Kurikan Hall shows will be having English commentary.
Interesting.
Which feature Kitamura facing Hiroyoshi Tenzan. He was going to be facing Kojima on the second of the two shows, but obviously that's thrown out the window, so I don't know who's going to be facing instead. Possibly Nagata or Nakanishi, because I don't believe they're booked on the card as it stands. And if, they're a good enough replacement as anything for him. And also on the second night of that tour, Sanada and Evil face Okada and Goto for the tag titles. And then the Osaka show is the following Saturday on the 10th. However, just to really complicate things, we've got the Australian tour the week after that, from the 16th to the 19th, followed by the Ring of Honor shows in Japan the weekend after. Then I think we've got the New Japan Cup March 6th. think. I don't think it'd be March 21st because that'd be way too soon before the bloody USA show. So yeah, we've pretty much got something to do in New Japan every week in February, and even before it, and some of which are two different promotions entirely. But there you go. Busy, and whatever.
Now Impact.
Now we transition into Impact. Just to make sense, we're still on all the old shit. Taiji Ishimori versus Desmond Xavier for the X Division title, which is actually interesting because, unlike most X Division matches, it had a slow, sort of methodical start and then went into the big moves and the flippy stuff. Ishimori winning with the inverted lung blower, followed by the 450. And they hand shook and they hugged afterwards. OVE backstage, and you're going to take no prisoners because they're going to take over everything. Not everyone, everything. So then we've got the video package hyping up the barbed wire massacre. Then we get to American Top Team video package, which is ironic because they'll never be seen again. And then they recap Aaron Rex versus Eddie Edwards for some reason. So then they recap Gail Kim giving up the Knockouts title and Laurel Van Ness winning and Ali working her way towards the title shot next week. Wow, so they're really recording this shit out of order, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's just... So next we have Congo Kong versus Chandler Park, which Kong comfortably sort of wins with a sit-out pole driver, with Joseph now being scared shitless. Splashing Chandler afterwards. And yeah, Ethan Page is dead. Well, no, Ethan Page very much alive. Chandler Park, we hope, is dead. So then we had Drake, Impact, and Alberto in the triple threat title match. The key thing is all three of them super kicked the referee. And the referees kept getting attacked, and they keep attacking each other, and they keep doing near falls on each other. And the locker room shows up to sort of try and split them all apart. And Borash says he's received word that this match is a no contest. What a great not main event there. Thanks, Border City Wrestling. You delivered a crock of fucking shit. Brilliant. So the actual main event was randomly Rosemary versus Casey Spinelli. The interesting bit was Rosemary goes for the mist, but doesn't actually do it. But still hits the Red Wedding and wins. Unsurprisingly. Then afterwards, Rosemary gets on the mic and says, Laurel's in possession of a shiny new toy. But they're not angry because she respects somebody that will block the mist with the bare hands. And she'll defend the title against the favorite Bunny Alley, but if she's worthy of victory, the Alliance will not save her. Because whoever stands victorious after Genesis, and she'll reclaim the title. And then she gets jumped by Hania, the Howling Huntress, and beats the shit out of her. Keep in mind, what comes from this is Hania losing twice, and now she's gone from the company.
This is crazy.
Great logic, guys. So now we're hyping up OVE in LAX, hyping it up. And then they go, it's main event time. Go on fucking Twitch. Bye. It's like, what? Your main event of a show, and then you cut off the program because you want everybody to watch it on Twitch. The great thing is, they put it up on YouTube anyway. And also, it wasn't even broadcast live on Twitch. It was put up as like a 20-minute archive video as well on Twitch.
Yeah, but apparently they didn't want anything to do with airing it because it was too violent. But I
after having seen it and seeing like some of the shit that go down, like on Bound for Glory, what that bad? The only reason it was like too gory because they had barbed wire ropes.
Right.
We had Homicide doing bloody fork shit. Because, you know, when you've got... The interesting thing is, with all this crazy shit that was happening with, like, violent chair shots and alcohol and barbed wire and everything, I thought the Chris brothers had stopped doing death matches. Because what have they literally done here? A death match. Either way, Santana won with a superplex off the top of a ladder through a table to get the win. It was a decent match, but it was like... It just felt like to get people watching Twitch. Which, admittedly, having seen how it's done, it sort of launched this time last week with a fair few numbers. But I'm going to quickly have a look at it now. I'm just intrigued to see how many people are watching as it stands. Somewhere in the region of about a couple of hundred, by the looks of it. They have been showing a mix of old shit and new shit. Oh, great. Are we going to have... Oh, MVP's in the ring. I'm trying to see if you can say the M word.
Oh, God.
If they do, that would be fucking funny. I'm keeping it on in the background with an ear to it. So, yeah, next week, as part of the Genesis stuff, we've got Eli Drake, Johnny Impact, and Alberto in a triple threat steel cage. EC3 against Matt Sydal for the Grand Championship. Lowell Van Ness versus Ali for the Knockouts title. And Lashley versus Moose for fuck all. From what I can tell. Wait, I'm trying to remember why MVP thought Samoa Joe was his family. Oh, something to do with Indies. Anyway, I guess we'll quickly run over Defiant and what the fuck they're doing with their promotion. This is some weird shit. So the show sort of starts with Billy Wood, the IPW owner, basically saying we're holding the title hostage and challenges Kirby to fake Mark Haskins tonight, with Kirby getting a shot at the Defiant title if he wins, but if he loses, Defiant loses all control of IPW Defiant loses all control to IPW until the pay-per-view in a few weeks. So basically temporary loss of power or something. So we start off with Alex Gracie versus Rampage, which is pretty much a squash match, which Rampage, comfortably wins. And then Zach basically calls Rampage out, so Rampage runs to the back. Because apparently Gibson's got one of Rampage's trainees or something backstage. That's why he runs off. So now the great thing is they then have the advert and they literally go to the same location, but now we've got a sort of completely different promo happening in that same place. So it's Havoc and Primate versus Aussie Open, which I believe is non-title. But for some reason, IPW sort of try and interfere here with Robert Sharp and Chief Deputy Dunn sort of trying to get involved and whatever. But yeah, Aussie Open win. But it was sort of not. It was all right, but not as good as it probably could have been. So now we're back with Zach Gibson beating up some sort of trainee, and then Rampage is apparently pulled up in a car getting to the arena or something. So I guess it's a different place from wherever it was and everything. And Gibson runs away. And next, it's instead of a handicap match with Prestige versus Joe Coffey, Travis Banks joins in, so it becomes a tag match. And the great thing is the Prestige are like trying to get over as heels, and the fact of the matter is nobody gave a fuck about it. That's what happens when you take this stable with like 4 or 5 people, and because of new owners and everything, and obviously new creative, because the guy's left to do Cultaholic in some shape or form, it sort of, to some extent, falls apart. The Prestige is sort of last week's news, so I don't know how long that's got left, in all honesty. So then we get Haskins versus Kirby. Not bad, but they did go sort of along the angle of Kirby's had head trauma, so he's back being concussed. And Haskins goes for the sharpshooter, and the referee stops the match because obviously Kirby's in no shape or form to tap. So IPW basically takes over the next few weeks. But the issue here is, why the fuck would people care about this IPW invasion? Because this was filmed like the week after. All this angle was filmed like the day after the pay-per-view, and then the following week after. So how are you supposed to sort of build up continuity there as to what's going down when it just happens with, like, people have to be under the impression that they already know what IPW is. But the thing is, you're putting it on YouTube. So the majority of the people that you suckered in who actually watch your product in the first place are international fans who would not know who IPW is. They might know some of the names, you know, like Haskins and I guess technically Aries and all that. But they probably won't know the promotion. It's not like I'd say it'd be different if if it was like, I don't know, on the level of Progress or Rev Pro, which has been garnering a lot of international attention. The only international attention that IPW's got, really, has been ever since Aries won the title last month, which just so happened to be around the same time that the Defiant stuff happened. So it's not as good as it could have been, because you haven't got sort of vile hatred. Because certainly to me, from an outsider, from the way it's looking, what we've pretty much established is IPW is sort of doing this promotion, technically. No wonder Lucha Forever got killed off, because then that means IPW is managing 3 promotions, including itself. And that's too many. Hell, for Lucha Forever, 1 was too many as it stood, so... There's potential there, but it just isn't properly delivering. Although the matches next week should be good, because Books and Banks of CCK take on the Prestige, which seems to be El Ligero and David Starr. Millie McKenzie facing Zia Brookside in, I think, Zia's debut. And Speedball Mike Bailey against Zack Sabre Jr. for the Internet title. All that goodness. So, I guess now we talk the indies.
That would be how we end the show tonight.
I lose track of everything. No, nothing in the chat or anything?
No.
Something I quickly want to mention, though, I guess we'll mention a few bits of news. I won't go on about the Enzo stuff, considering we don't know about legitimacy, possibly, of it, because of other stuff that has come to light now. So, either way, the woman that has accused Enzo of rape put out some very disturbing looking comments, I will say. We'll see what's going there. Jeff Cobb is out of WXW 16 Karat Gold shows happening in a couple of months in March. The reason being, he's part of Lucha Underground Season 4. So that pretty much tells me they start taping in March.
Makes sense.
For whatever is coming. Sticking with the Lucha feel, there was an MDA show, which I guess is one of the promotions in Mexico. They've been teasing a chaotic invasion, and my God, this is fucking chaotic. Imagine a stable Owen of Conan, Kevin Cross, Juventud Guerrera, and Sexy Dolce.
Oh boy.
What the actual fuck? So
it sounds like if XPW did LWO.
Especially, and I believe earlier on in that night, Dolce wrestled. Apparently, that's the first match he's had in Mexico since that Triple Mania thing happened. No pressure there. The great thing is, she cut a promo basically saying, "I never saw myself as a face when I was wrestling for AAA." It was like, they did that every fucking time. You were even supposed to be a face when you walked out on the company, but yet you still came back and won. You only didn't become a face because you broke kayfabe. Because you thought that Rosemary was in on it. Despite the fact she don't even know the fucking language. You could see the miscommunication between her and the bloody Japanese woman and the Mexican woman when they were trying to do whatever shit that they were doing. You're not seeing Botchamania. Oh. The Crash had an interesting issue this week because they advertised that Matt Riddle was supposed to be in the show, taking on Ray Horus. Joey Janela stepped in at the last minute. The main reason being, Matt Riddle was also booked the same night for AAW show. The idea, Riddle wanted to go to Tijuana and thought he could let AAW talk. He thought he could talk him out of letting him out of the show. But then AAW basically told him, "You're in the main event against Phoenix for the title. Didn't you know that?" And as the Cubs fan blog says, the Crash assumed Riddle was coming because they're the Crash. So yeah, proves where they are in terms of what's happening with them. So yeah, they're trying to get a TV deal. They've been trying to get it for 18 months and nothing's happening. Who knows? Also, according to a report from PW Insider, the resurrection of the XFL, whatever it's going to be called, is apparently going to be coming in 2020.
Yep.
They aren't going to do it instantaneously because that fucked up last time. And the delay is obviously to build a proper infrastructure, including hiring actual coaches and players for it to actually last. So, it looks as if it's actually going to be happening. For real, probably.
Interesting.
Samir Singh is out of action for a while because he tore his ACL. So that's why the other Singh brother was on his own with Jinder on Smackdown. Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, and AJ Styles are going to be on a Table for Free episode soon, which is I'm trying to work out what the link is there.
What was it again?
Shane, Angle, and AJ.
Oh, they've all three worked each other.
Well, yeah, but like the Kurt Shane stuff was like 17 years ago.
Doesn't matter. That's all you really need to have a connection.
No, but it's like, ugh. I don't know what the theme is, though. That's the thing.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense outside of like just doing shit. I'll get to the PWG card that's just been announced when we actually get to results and whatever. Impact Wrestling have announced they're going to be doing a live road show with Border City Wrestling and Destiny Wrestling in Mississauga on March the 4th. That show will be broadcast on Impact's Twitch channel. Live, I don't know. We'll have to see. And apparently Kawato is going to be a Rudo as part of CMLL's Arena Mexico shows for the excursion. Dick Togo is undergoing medical treatment after being diagnosed with pulmonary tuberculosis bacteria. In terms of that Jeff Cobb being removed from WXW, It's because in his place will be Keith Lee, so he's going to be busy there. Triple H has done his media call regarding Takeover, which is where Cassius Ohno and Velveteen Dream was announced. Hang on, did we cover NXT?
Did we cover NXT? I don't think we did.
No. Oh, okay. Well, before
We
actually
usually go right into it, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's part of the WWE stuff. You just skipped right over it, and we got to take over this weekend, and we're not even covering.
I didn't have the notes. You were the one that I can watch that, because normally that time I'm trying to compile everything else together.
Yeah, lately things have not been that way.
Yeah, so Ono versus Velveteen Dream got added, which is sort of spoilers for if you haven't watched NXT. And again, it happened weeks ago. Talked about Shayna Baszler and mentioned Jessamine Duke's capabilities, but they're all full at the Performance Center. How even the most experienced wrestlers need to learn about TV, and that's why they go to NXT, even if it is just for a short amount of time. So is that sort of teasing possibly Baszler's moving up immediately?
Wouldn't shock me. Like, there's a lot of people that are thinking, like, they're talking about Ronda in the Rumble. Well, what happens when Ronda's in the Rumble and she eliminates a bunch of ladies, and the next thing you know, 3, 2, 1, here comes Shayna Baszler.
Or are we thinking Undisputed Era going up quickly? I mean, not logically, you couldn't do that because of the titles, but you know, they're implying that even the most experienced wrestlers need to learn about TV.
Right.
So I'm guessing. I mean, Ono's experienced because he's been there before. So.
I want Hero to come up. I really do. But the thing about it is they don't seem like they want to do anything with him.
There's interest from both sides on Ronda Rousey coming, but nothing's been signed yet. Take that how you will. And then the other important bit of news, because we really needed to fucking have this. Fuck. Stephanie McMahon is going to be on the commentator's desk for the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea at all.
Big G. Who hates that idea?
Exactly. It's like, okay, you want me to go back? You want to go back to WrestleMania 2? We talked about it the other night. I said that's how Raw 25 should have gone. I got another thing from WrestleMania 2. Stephanie McMahon on commentary is going to be like what they did with Susan St. James and Kathy Lee Crosby during the show. It's going to be there to just fill time, and that's about it. There's not going to be anything to it. And unfortunately, as long as she plays it straight and doesn't like try to get herself over, it'll be fine. But I mean, yeah, no.
Of course she will.
Yeah.
Because it's her fucking. Oh, and I guess the other big thing that we haven't talked about, we're breaking the trend of non-WrestleMania shows being in the same building all weekend. Because Arizona is getting the Royal Rumble next year.
Yep.
Takeover is in the Talking Stick Arena. Raw is in the Talking Stick Arena. Smackdown's in the Talking Stick Arena. However, the Royal Rumble won't be. They're trading up, and they're going to be at Chase Field, where the Phoenix, or I guess the Arizona Cardinals MLB team plays. Oh, sorry, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cardinals is the football team, I think. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be the first time that a Royal Rumble has been at a baseball stadium, which of course means open air. Although I think the thing does have a roof. If they wanted to shut it, I think.
Possibly.
But either way, when I think of it, I think that's the first time that they've been in a baseball stadium since Toronto. No. Oh no, because Safeco Field was Seattle, wasn't it? So wasn't that a no? Safeco Field was Seattle Mariners, wasn't it? I think. So that was
to the interwebs.
that was 19 since that was 2003.
Yeah, that's Seattle.
So it'll be over 15 years. Because I don't think they've been in a baseball stadium since. Because most of the Rumbles, the only stuff that has been in sort of stadiums has been has been let's say WWE. The WrestleManias. But even when you take into that, Garden was 20, 21 was Hollywood at the Staples Center, 22 was Allstate. And then it's been football stadiums every year since.
If they're planning to run the Rumble at a stadium, something tells me that they're really planning on doing something major in order to justify it. Because a Royal Rumble by itself probably would be I can judge this from WrestleMania itself. A Battle Royal is not a fun thing to watch when you're in a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Even our vantage point, which was really good, it wasn't a fun atmosphere.
Yeah. That makes sense. So yeah, with the NXT stuff, I'm trying to think. What did we start off with? God damn it. I haven't even got my bloody prompts. We didn't start off with Bianca Belair, did we? Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we started off with a Velveteen Dream promo.
Oh, yeah, that promo. Why didn't I remember that? That was a really well put together promo.
Okay.
Darkness.
Okay.
Atmosphere. Illumination. It's like, oh, Patrick, my boy.
I've been singing the praises of Patrick Clarkson's Tough Enough, and it took a lot of people to get on that bandwagon, but welcome aboard. We have cookies. And I'm telling you right now, I'm very happy to see what he's doing on NXT right now.
With respect, he was made just in the build up to Aleister Black.
Totally. Oh my gosh, yes.
So we did start off match wise with the return of Noah Jose taking Cesar Boney. Because that's his name. He ain't Bononi. He just Boney.
Yeah, just typical match. It wasn't very long. We got the heat on Jose for a bit, and then he got his shine back, and all of a sudden he ends up hitting the baseball punch and match over. I mean, I don't care about Noah Jose, and I never will. So Bononi does have a lot of upside. I could see him doing something like, I don't know, maybe on Smackdown down the line if they want to bring him up. He's got the size that Vince likes, obviously. But the thing is, I mean, Noe Jose is just kind of like a one-trick pony. He's a serviceable worker, and he can talk. That's about it. His personality will be what gets him over. Like everybody's fixation with the Street Profits, which I still don't get.
Then there was a good package hyping up Black versus Cole. Because of course there was. And then I think we know the music that the Bianca Belair should be having. Because that's all it fucking was.
Yeah, that's like her gimmick, is literally whipping her hair at her opponents. Yeah.
Is it because she's realised the MMA gimmick she can't do because there's other fuckers there? Because that died.
Yeah, pretty much.
Remember when Bianca Belair was supposed to be exactly like Sonya Deville and exactly like Shayna Baszler?
Nothing to this. I mean, just a short squash match. Bianca Belair is winning with Big Show's old alley-oop finish.
Looks all right, though.
I'm okay. I mean, when I saw her, John Paul and I went to NXT last year, I remember watching her and I was like, I don't get it. But I mean, she's fine. She's a heck of a lot better than some of the other people in the NXT roster. That's for dang sure. I'm looking at you, Steve Rogers, pinup girl.
Oh fuck! Don't remind me. Somebody that's talented is gonna fucking job to somebody that thinks they're a patriot.
Yeah, and look what happened now. Look, that they were the one they were putting her over all the time, and she would beat her on the house show circuits all the time in the loop down here, and now look who's on SmackDown and look who's still in NXT.
Mm-hmm. So then they hype up, or at least try to hype up, Baszler versus Ember, which goes to show you how Baszler really isn't that accomplished at promo work yet. Especially the thing that didn't help it is the fucking music that they kept playing over the top of it. You know, like dog foreboding music, like all the way through. It's like, we get it. Can't it just be a regular interview where the stares and the silence mean anything rather than like?
Sounds like a broken air conditioner.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I understand why this has to have the impact. I get it, but it doesn't need the music. The overlay was kind of like putting it on way too thick.
Yeah. Then another good video package recapping TM61 and everything.
They're really setting them up to be the savior, the babyface saviors of the division when they come back fully, and they're back on NXT next week. So we'll see what happens. I'm guessing that means they're in the dark match on Saturday night. That's going to be the dark match is going to air before like the takeover the matches they air before takeover.
Next week TM61 returns against to be announced people. So we'll have to see who that is. And Nikki Cross versus Lacey Evans, because fuck.
Why is this a thing?
Next up, Authors of Pain versus Jobber Alert.
Oh no.
Jobber Alert.
It's back.
Oh, just because I wanted to get it ready. Because as soon as we do any countdowns for it, I think I'm going to be playing that to be the hooter at the Rumble. Like,
God.
So they beat the shit out of these jobbers. Then in the middle, or not, I guess, because it never happened. They cut a promo basically saying we're winning the tag titles, hit the Super Collider on them, but the bell rang, but it's like, I guess technically the match is still going on. And this was recorded a month ago. This could be the longest match in the history of wrestling. It's up there with the 1 year time limit, back in Wrestle Circus. And then we get to Gargano and Velveteen Dream, because we at least had to have a really good match on this show. Oh,
this was solid. I mean, everything good about this and then some. I heard a lot of good things about this match, and it delivered greatly. So many great things here. Dream cuts off the slingshot spear with a swinging neck breaker, and it's just that was like early in the match, and then we get to our like second of 2 commercial breaks, and then it pretty much gets towards the end with a lot of pinning combinations going back and forth. Super kick by Velveteen, and of course Gargano cuts him off, sends him to the outside. Tope Suicida. Gargano goes up top. He gets crotched, and Velveteen Dream hits a Spicoli driver off the top rope, which looked awesome. Desperation near fall, literally draped the arm over, only gets a 2.5. Phenomenal stuff. Dream goes up top for the Purple Rainmaker, and he's selling his arm because obviously early on in the match, Gargano got the Gargano escape on for like a split second before he powdered to the outside. So they're building this. And the next thing you know, he goes up top, and when he goes with the Purple Rainmaker, it connects, but it lands with the bare knees of Johnny Gargano. And then the GSK, the grounded super kick, and then the Gargano escape. And just like a wise man once said, Ashley, tap, 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 like Sammy Davis Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff here. Here comes your NXT champion, Andrade Cien Almas, and Zelina Vega. There's a stare down, and then Almas tries to get the upper hand. Gargano ends up getting over on him for a minute, and then Almas cuts him off, knocks him to the outside, and then, of course, Gargano gets a shine back with an Enziguri and a slingshot DDT. He raises the title up in the air, raises it high. Crowd chants, "You deserve it," as we find out that Almas will retain on Saturday. Unless it's a swerve, because what's going to happen, Gargano's going to win, and the next thing you know, Tommaso Ciampa jumps him.
You've got it slightly right and slightly wrong. I entitle it champing at the bit.
I can see that.
Ciampa is going to cost Gargano.
It's possible, but why would you? Okay, it's basically I hate you so much I don't care about the title is what this feud's about.
Yes.
That makes sense. Okay, I got you. But it could go either way. If he wins, I mean, they could really pull a swerve and have Ciampa help him win inadvertently, and then be like, you know what? After the match is over, it's like, hey, let's let bygones be bygones. It's been a while, and the next thing you know, he lays him out again, and he's like, you should know not to trust me. I'll see you at Takeover. And we build to the next Takeover with the Colossal Battle being your world title match.
But then part of me does wonder whether Adam Cole's ever going to get a shot at that title.
Before he gets brought up, you mean?
Because Cole's going to get brought up sooner rather than later.
I mean, he could lose. Well, losing to Aleister Black would not shock me at this point. Cole needs the win, but only if he's going to stay on the brand for the foreseeable future. If he loses, I honestly think there is a very, very distinct possibility we could see Adam Cole in the Royal Rumble.
I think the other way around. I think Black's going to be in the Rumble.
I think we're under the same impression that regardless, somebody in that match will be in the Rumble.
And I'm not even sure of whether it's going to be an instantaneous, they're going to be on Raw or SmackDown the next night. I think that one of them's going to be in the Rumble. So I don't know whether you could put Killian Dane in again for the second year running.
That's why I don't think it's going to be Dane this time around. I'll tell you who I think is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be Velveteen Dream. It's time.
Well, if you take into account though that we still need to add Dunn in, and we need to add some of the jobbers, and possibly a legend. Then it's like, how do you fill out? How does it make it? How do you make it below 30?
There's some surprises coming. I mean, are we going to see EC3 at the Rumble? I mean, it's possible, but they may just wait until Raw or
He's
SmackDown.
more likely to be, oh my God, he's in the crowd at TakeOver.
That's what we've been saying, though.
Yeah, that's what it needs to be. If anything, he could come in and he could come in and actually be the heel.
Or maybe
I know that means Almas would have to be face, but he's sort of on that point.
He can be if they tilt it the right way.
Because I think if EC3 does come back in, and if he does come in as Derek Bateman again, keep in mind Derek Bateman won NXT because they gave up on the whole thing.
Right.
So he could say, like, of course it's mine. I'm the only guy in this promotion that was ever really NXT through and through. And he could play off that heel thing, like the entitled guy, because, you know, he's got the history.
He can be EC3, but he doesn't have to be called EC3, even though he does own the rights to his name now.
Oh. Does he own the rights to his theme?
I have a feeling we're going to get a CFO $sign song that does have the word trouble in it, but I don't know exactly how distinct it's going to be. I mean, we haven't had someone jump the barricade at TakeOver yet. We just have them sitting in the crowd. Let's say Almas wins, and basically the crowd the match itself turns in babyface, and he shakes hands with Gargano after the match is over. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, EC3 attacks, and he beats down both guys, raises the title up in the air, and now the people that don't know who he is are wondering why Derek Bateman, from a season of Tough Enough that most people don't even remember, is now laid out to be both the current NXT champion and its top challenger. And then that's how we build to the next set of TV tapings, with Derek Bateman going after a now babyface Almas.
Let's say we have I'm just thinking about this now.
Rockstar Spud would work in this too if they really wanted to roll it that way.
Well, no,
they could reunite them back together and put together as
it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for him to be the GM of 205 Live.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, but he can wrestle. He could actually be a competitor rather than a GM. Because they've noted over and over the fact of Gargano's the opposite of unbeaten, unlosing, against Almas.
Right.
I think there's going to be some sort of shenanigans involving Bateman now.
I'm believing it.
Which means Almas retains.
Yep.
They do some sort of rematch at TakeOver, Mania. possibly steel cage to stop any interference.
Right.
That's when Gargano wins. And then a year on,
Here comes Ciampa.
from what happened the year before, that's when Ciampa shows up and lays him out afterwards. So you get the glory of Gargano's finally reached the top, but then you immediately build into what's next. Because if you think about it, we only had like 7 weeks, I think,
Right.
between WrestleMania and the next takeover, because they did it as a back-to-back with, what was it, Payback?
Right.
So if they're doing that again, because I don't think it would make sense to do it with I don't think it makes sense to do a whole weekend of shows after Money in the Bank, because I'd say that would be a bit too soon. Then again, it is June, so possibly, especially because we're in Chicago. Because, yeah, I'm just looking at the dates. April 8th is Mania. May 27th is Payback. But then June 17th is Money in the Bank, and then August 19th, SummerSlam. So there's a 2-month gap between Mania and Bank and SummerSlam. That's enough time, I would say, probably for TakeOver. And plus, because it's Chicago, AAW, Ciampa territory, that could be an interesting crowd
It's possible.
for a Ciampa Gargano match. So that's the way I'm pitching everybody. That's the way I think it actually might go down.
It's very possible, honestly, at this point. I mean, they could always do the tag team idea too.
Mm-hmm.
I really think I think a good idea would be to have Rockstar Spud, or whatever you're going to call him when he comes in. Him and EC3 get together in WWE under the NXT brand. I think that's a great idea. And then you set that up, and that's going to be a good way to bring him in, because he can work, and then he can work with Gargano, and he can work with Almas, and then he basically could be setting it up for, he could be doing the dirty work for Bateman, because Bateman doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has fun written all over it, and especially if you bring Bateman and Ciampa together, to have them work together.
Yeah.
Down the line, I think that would work really well. So many amazing things. Always we come up with these things, and they're like, nope, we're not going to do it.
Also, interestingly, well, I'm looking at the stats while we're here for the pay-per-view stuff. Kane's Royal Rumble appearance will be the 172nd pay-per-view that he's been on.
Good Lord.
And it will be seen as 155th. The weird thing is, Undertaker's only 1 ahead of Triple H, despite there being 5 years of difference. So, yeah. Wells Fargo Center this weekend should be interesting.
I'd say so. I mean, I will apologize in advance. We're not doing an NXT Takeover podcast. I have a previous engagement. I almost ended up this. You'll find this entertaining. So, because NXT Takeover is the night, obviously the night before WrestleMania. WrestleMania, of course, is coming on April 8th. Of course, that means April 7th of all days is NXT Takeover. I inadvertently had something planned for April 7th, and we almost didn't do a takeover for Mania weekend. But then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I have to do a takeover for Mania weekend. It's bad enough I got to miss Supercard of Honor because they're running at the same time.
Yeah.
I wish they could just run Supercard of Honor on Friday night. Make it so much easier.
Well, because
then we could actually cover it.
I guess it's not easy enough, I don't know.
No, God, no, it's not. It's not easy enough at all. Because to be quite honest, if it wasn't for the, I did not mind going to the Hall of Fame last year, but if I could have went to Super Ring of Honor on Friday night and then went to TakeOver on Saturday, I would have been a lot happier.
Turns out I was right all along.
Of course.
The next NXT TakeOver after New Orleans is Chicago in June, the night before Money in the Bank. So you are going to be getting 5 NXT TakeOvers a year. That is the new norm. I guess they're going to have to call it Chicago too, unless they come up with some other gimmick. Also, I do like the fact as well that NXT TakeOver The End was literally the last NXT TakeOver at Full Sail.
Yeah.
At this rate, probably will be. Ever. It got too popular, Owen.
Well, yeah.
It got too popular too quick.
Well, I mean, we have NXT tapings coming up, and I believe it's in March, actually, is the next time we're going to be in Full Sail, which I'm going to try. Hopefully, me and John Paul will end up returning back to Full Sail when NXT returns, because the dates right now are, they're official, and they're not official. Yeah, there it is, March 7th, and they're completely sold out. So, I mean, I'm
not even going to the Pro Bowl, representing Orlando. Disappointed.
Why would I go to anything involving sport? I mean, I would for someone else, but I'm not going to go for myself.
You're trying to say that wrestling isn't a sport? Still real to me, damn it.
Oh, dear God. This is what happens when I run a lot. I get, like, scatterbrained.
Yeah.
I have a name for it, but I'm not saying it online. I'm not saying it where people can hear what I'm saying.
Shit, I'm out.
We'll just refer to it as under 3 letters, and I'm not going to say what they are. So there. Yeah, I hope I get to come back to NXT. I know I'm looking.
Going to say TNA.
No, I actually do want to return back to Impact, because that was. I did only see one of the tapings for the 5 that we had, but the issue is because I had too much to do. I didn't have time to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
In between running and working. Wow, this feels weird saying that. Who am I? Between running and working, I really didn't have the time to do it, so I only could go to one of the shows. And plus, I went to SAC too, so that made it even cooler. But the thing is, hopefully, when Impact returns again later this year, I'll be able to go back. But yeah, I want to go back to Full Sail really bad to see the taping. So I'm going to be watching that Full Sail Twitter feed like a hawk to try to win free tickets, because hopefully that's going to be a theme of 2018. I'm winning free tickets. I get NXT, and then somehow, some way, I'll get to go to Fall Out Boy, and then life will be grand. I will finally be victorious, if you will. Exactly. And what Ashley's trying to say is bury the lead, bury the lead. Anyway, oh yeah, so yeah, that's, as far as I know, that's all we have to talk about, unless we have results left to go.
What the fuck? I'm looking at Twitter trying to find out what's going on online. I just get a bloody message saying the actor who was formerly Barney the Dinosaur is now working as an LA tantric therapist. Oh, God damn it. Down the rabbit hole. So, some of the big highlights from the past few weeks, because I'm still catching up on indie results. The MLW show seemed to be pretty well received from what I've heard. We had MVP beating Low Key, apparently by DQ. Rid, the Chosen Bros beating Tom Lawler and Seth Petrozelli. Jimmy Havoc and Shane Strickland trying to murder each other with Havoc getting the win in a death match, among loads of other stuff. Maverick Mayhew and Connor Mills apparently had a really good match at the Progress Wrestling show at the Dome in Tufnell Park, which was good enough that Ospreay basically said that both of them is where the future of British wrestling will be, which is pretty ridiculous. Pro Wrestling Eve, the Rumble match, even though Sami Zayn went in number 1, she retained. Interestingly, the matchmaker, Rhea O'Reilly, was number 20, I think. If I count right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I guess round numbers. But yeah, Rhea went in last, but then Charlie Evans and Jamie Hayter basically attacked her, so Sami Zayn still won. And then interestingly, Millie McKenzie beat Toni Storm in a ladder match, or to qualify for the ladder match at their next show. So Millie beat Toni Storm. Keep that in mind, everybody. We also had Livy Grace beating Bea Priestley and Leah Owens beating Charlie Evans. The other one between Laura DiMatteo and Jamie Hayter went to a no contest. So I'm guessing that means it'll be a triple threat ladder match rather than a 4-way. Nicole Matthews also cut a promo, I guess, building up to the crazy shit they're going to be doing over the next few months. Obviously with I think they're calling it something to do with like Wrestle Kingdom. I can't remember what it is. I think Wrestle Queendom they're calling it, which inadvertently references Stephanie. No. So yeah, Eve is really good. I managed to just about see the second show of the She Ones that they did a few months back. With all the international talent, and they were really good. I am interested in seeing more of Pro Wrestling Eve. They've popped up on the radar, which is good. So IPW had its Ospreay and Dunn WWE versus New Japan match. Which was interesting because it went to a double count out, and then Ospreay said, "Do you want 5 more minutes?" And Dunn low-blowed Ospreay, pedigreed him, went for the Rainmaker, but Ospreay delivered the Ozcutter and Dunn left. So they sort of did nothing, but there you go. Also interesting, for their next show in February, Nick Aldis defends the NWA World title against David Starr, along with Austin Aries against Mark Haskins. Because that makes sense, doesn't it? Because of Defiant. You see now how there is some conflicting issues that I have here, Owen? Ever so slightly?
Just a bit.
So, yet more bloody progress, this time from Birmingham, for their 61 show. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. If you get the Streets reference, you are fit. But my gosh, don't you just know it? Pete Dunne retained the UK title over Joseph Connors. And also Travis Banks retained the Progress World title over Chris Brooks. But then, interestingly, TK Cooper sort of stopped Banks from losing, and Kid Lycos tried to get involved as well. And Cooper and Banks faced off at the end because, spoilers, it's coming this week. There was also some more stuff to do with Mark Andrews. He wasn't able to compete because he was injured, but then Eddie Dennis came out saying how you know, oh, you're injured. That just means you get your WWE payments. You know, stop hiding and fight me. And, you know, they're building the shit out of it really well, from what I've heard. Certainly on paper, it looks pretty good. So, Freelance Wrestling had an interesting pipe bomb promo from Darren Corbin. Which is available, I think, on at least their Facebook page. Pretty much calling out Shug D, who wasn't on the card for this one, but I think from what I can tell is going to be part of the next show whenever that's coming. Isaias Velasquez won his return from injury, beating Bucky Collins, among other things. Also, Ethan Page beat Eric Cannon, because I'm an Ethan Page fan. Oh, and the 4-Star Heroes retained the tag belts as well against Guns and Beer. CWF Mid-Atlantic's New Year's Knockout. We got a new television champion in Shane Helms. It's just okay. He beat Eric Royal. I think that was the only title match of that stuff, so I won't mention the rest of them. Sorry, guys, because we've got a lot to go through. In Excellence Pro Wrestling, Hallowicked retained the Excellence Championship over Bradford Montague. On Point Wrestling, their Enter the Compound show had Drew Blood retain the OPW title against Kyle the Beast. And in a rematch 2.5 years in the making, Nick Gage beat Scott Summers. The last time they faced each other, time ran out. They gave it more time, and it still ran out, so it finished as a draw. Oh, and also, I guess to mention that Teddy Hart beat Tony Deppen, because Teddy Hart actually made a show for a change. PWX 16 tournament, the big one. So first round wins for Harlem Bravado, James Drake, Corey Hollis, Tracer X, David Starr, Elijah Evans IV, and Juice Robinson. You'll notice there I only did 7 names. Well, because Myron Reed and Darius Lockhart went to a time limit draw, so they're both out. But then, interestingly, afterwards, Chip Day cashed in the title opportunity that he won at a previous show, pinned Lockhart, so he is a 2-time ITV champion. And then the Ugly Ducklings beat the Syndicate in the Ducks, Ladders, and Chairs match to win the PWX tag titles. Then on night 2, Tracer X, Elijah Evans IV, and James Drake won their quarterfinal matches, which meant that Drake actually got a bye through to the final. Oh, sorry, no, they actually found, I guess, a replacement filler. I didn't read it properly. Anthony Henry beat Joey Mercury to retain the PWX title. Semi-finals were won by Elijah Evans IV and James Drake beating Corey Hollis. So I guess he was the... Hang on. Where the shit... I guess Corey Hollis got the bye from the Myron Reed and Darius Lockhart thing. That makes sense now. I get it. Chip Day retained the ITV title on night 2 as well in a scramble match with a load of other people. And James Drake, despite interference from Montana Black and Tommy Thomas, beat Elijah Evans IV to win the X16 tournament. That's pretty big. I mean, there's loads of singles tournaments and stuff, but it's PWX's, I guess, big one of the year, so congrats to him. From the Evolve shows from a few weeks back, Zack Sabre Jr. retained the Evolve title over Darby Allin. Austin Theory retained the FIP World title over Fred Yehi as well on Evolve 98. Style Battle Season 1, Episode 8 was won by Matt Riddle, so he'll be in the finals, which I think are over WrestleMania weekend. in some shape or form. Also on that card as well, Jackson Viole beat Adrian Alanis, Liam Gray, and champion James Bandy to win the WWA 4 title. Worth noting as well, though, as part of that style battle stuff, Nick Gage and Volta went to a no contest because they went into the crowd and ignored the referee. There you go. So basically, Joey Janela got a bye, which imagine what we could have had if we had Nick Gage versus Joey Janela. That could have been awkward.
Save that for spring break sometime.
Yeah. Well, somebody else is already doing spring break anyway in the UK, I think.
Well, actually, Joey Janela announced something about spring break earlier today on Twitter.
Which was?
Logan Paul.
What?
Uh-huh. Logan Paul is the first person that's going to be on spring break this year.
Oh my God.
And that was the greatest thing about that was what broke the internet. You know why it broke the internet? Because he was trolling everyone.
No, I actually have it happen. Have him up against Nick Gage.
Oh, that would be great. So it says, you thought I was really going to book that doucher Logan Paul for spring break? Our first announcement will be the one biggest talent announcement of the entire weekend, and it's coming soon. At GC Wrestling _ it's time to blow up the internet again.
Ibushi. Because it's, I believe spring break's the night before Ring of Honor, so, you know, Ibushi. Okay. Because then, realistically, Ibushi could do the Ring of Honor show and then do Kaiju on Saturday night.
Yep.
And wrestle a bloody dummy again. In Evolve 99, Volta beat Zack Sabre Jr. in a non-title match. So whether that means a title match down the line, probably. And Keith Lee retained the WWN title over Chris Dickinson. Then we come to PWG's Mystery Vortex 5. So it opened with debuting David Starr beating debuting Fred Yehai. Joey Janela beat Flash Morgan Webster. Sammy Guevara beat Ray Phoenix. Keith Lee defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Trent beat Marty Scurll. The Chosen Bros retained the World Tag Titles over the Ring Camp team of Volta and Timothy Thatcher. And then Chuck Taylor beat Ricochet in Guerrilla Warfare. After an awful waffle, onto the thumbtacks. Chuck is a two-time champion. Ricochet leaves to go to Mexico with Kevin Steen and El Generico. I think that's how it works. So leading into that, they announced last week that the next show is going to be called Neon Night, with a K, by the way. Not neon, the night's word. And they've just, in the last few hours, announced pretty much most of the card for it. We got Adam Brooks taking on Matt Sydal. Dalton Castle making his PWG return to face Joey Janela. David Starr versus Travis Banks. The debuting Flip Gordon takes on Zack Sabre Jr. Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle. And the Best Friends collide as Trent faces Chucky T for the PWG World title. Tickets will be going on sale at 8 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday, this time next week, I guess. Probably literally, because we're recording this at 8:30 Pacific. They're pretty much a week from now. Unless, well, no, because obviously they'll be bugger. So from this past weekend, Rev Pro's high stakes got pretty high because Ginny retained the women's title in a three-way against Bea Priestley and Millie McKenzie, which is interesting because from what I've heard, Ginny's injured. We'll get to that. Will Ospreay beat Mandrews. So I guess so much for Mandrews being injured. Adam Brooks attacked Ospreay afterwards, interestingly as well. And then the big one, Suzuki Goon beat Mustache Mountain to become the British Tag Team Champs, even though one of them is Japanese. CCK came out afterwards and challenged Suzuki Gun to a match, I guess, at a future show. We'll have to see when that is. ICW's tapings at the garage in Glasgow started pretty eventfully because Wee Man's team of Rampage Brown and Ashton Smith beat Polo Promotion, so the tag titles have pretty much immediately changed hands from the last time they were in action, just after Fear and Loathing and everything. The BT Gun Red Lightning match didn't happen because Yeston Reese and Bram attacked BT Gun prior to the match, which allowed Lightning to also attack Gun. There was a thing basically saying if Bram interfered in the match, he'd be fired. But I guess the technicality is because the match didn't start, they got away with it. I don't know. Something like that. Later on in the night, Bram teamed up with Session Moth to beat Ravy Davey and the ICW Women's Champ Casey, along with other stuff. And the Kinky Party won the 10-man tag team street fight against the Filthy Generation, the Kings of Catch. The Filthy Generation of Stevie Boy and the Kings of Catch, as well as the Fight Network. Destiny Wrestling from this past Sunday had the 20-man Rumble, which was won by James Ellsworth, which meant that Ellsworth had the chance to challenge for the Destiny World title whenever he wanted, and thanked the fans, and then said how he used them to make money in the big league. So, of course, heel, I guess. So, yeah. Aries and Dunn was really good from what I've heard. There was a complication, though, with one very interesting false finish. Both men's shoulders were on the mat, so the match got restarted. But then out came James Ellsworth to cash in his opportunity, tried to pin Aries, then tried to pin Dunn. Both basically destroyed Ellsworth. And then eventually Dunn hit Ellsworth with the bitter end. And Dunn retains. Which is weird, because when you take into account that the next Destiny show is an Impact Wrestling show, I guess that means we won't be seeing Pete on a Destiny show until after that show, I would have thought, because that would be a bit awkward. It's an Impact show live on Twitch with a WWE talented contractor. Yeah, no. I don't think that's happening. Heavy Metal Chaos retained the tag, but sorry, this is C4's In the Mouth of Madness from Ottawa. On their stuff. The tag champs, Heavy Metal Chaos, retained, I think, titles are on the line against Doom Patrol of Dickinson and Yaka. So it was supposed to be then afterwards Michael Von Payton versus Brent Banks, but I guess Brent was injured. And singled out a young man that was sitting by the audio table and asked him his name and where he was from. He was Ottawa's own Sheldon Jean. And in questioning why he'd never heard of him, apparently he trained in Windsor, Ontario under Scott D'Amour. And so Van Payton said, okay, you can get a match with me. And of course, Sheldon managed to win. So, random guy out the crowd gets put over. Because of course it does. So, Vanessa Craven came out for her C4 title match against Kobe Durst. But then Twiggy came out. Apparently, Craven's facing Mercedes Martinez at the Femme Fatale 20 event, which is being held in the same venue next month. Basically, Craven looked to have it won, but Evil Uno came in, sprayed mist into her eyes, and so Kobe pinned her. And then Tabernacle Team beat the shit out of Uno and Frankie the Mobster and won. Stu Grayson and Vanessa Craven sort of coming in to make the save after that main event to side with Tabernacle Team. So the battle lines are drawn and stuff. The big stuff from Smash Wrestling, after 400 plus days, Tyson Dukes drops the Smash Wrestling title to Frankie the Mobster. With thanks to Vanessa Craven and the Super Smash Brothers, causing distractions and interference. So yeah, the ones that are sort of enemies and sort of co-friends in the other promotion are all together in another one. That ain't confusing at all, is it? And then the main event, the well-oiled machines of Braxton Sutter and Psycho Mike Rollins beat Tabernacle Team in the tag team ladder match to become the first ever Smash Wrestling tag champs. They'll be in action this week, though. We'll get to that in a bit. In terms of the Alpha One Wrestling show, Wrestlers Gone Wild, the big thing that came up is they were sent basically an email by some person that was an old school wrestling fan and didn't like how people were saying, you know, touch my dick, and there were dicks touching dicks, and how homosexuals are in the shows and how there should just be rainbow banners on all their stuff. Where Alpha One rightfully retorted, if you did your research, you'd know about what Joey Ryan is like. And also, if you've got a problem with homosexuals being involved in wrestling, I suggest that as a problem itself. So it's like, good on you, Ethan, breaking the fourth wall here. Because I know you're partly involved, at least in terms of like booking and whatever and arranging stuff. So good on you, Ethan. So on that show, Ricky Shane Page retained the Alpha Male title. The tag team titles did change hands. Ethan Page and Cody Rhodes dropping them to the eventual. Well, I don't know if they were the actual last team eliminated, but they dropped them, and the new team that is champions of the Western Med Connection. And Shane Sabre also retained the Zero Gravity title in a 5-way scramble. AIW's Death Row. Unsurprisingly, Keith Lee beat Raymond Rowe in his last match before heading to the E. Also, a big win for Dominic Garrini over Juice Robinson, I would argue. Apparently, they didn't allow Nick Gage to be on this show, though. So that didn't happen. And Dedication Personified of Daniel C. Rockingham and Brian Carson became number one contenders for the tag titles as well. So, AAW, as I previously mentioned before, Ray Phoenix beat Matt Riddle to retain the AAW title. Jessica Havoc eliminated Scarlett Bordeaux and Kylie Ray in a three-way elimination match. Teddy Hart beat Myron Reed. And the Best Season in the World beat Shane Strickland and Keith Lee. Among other matches that were on that show. We also had, actually looking at it, Kevin Lee Davidson losing to Eddie Kingston. Maxwell Jacob Freeman beating Juice Robinson. ACH over Paco Gonzalez. The wrestling team beat the Killer Colt. With David Starr pinning Dave Christ following a back fist from Eddie Kingston. And also Kurt Stallion and Jake Something beat Zero Gravity. Long other matches. That's the Ring of Honor stuff. That's that. So we get to this weekend. Into the upcoming events and all that. AAA has its first big show of the year, the Guerra de Titanes. This might, considering how they're saying they want to do shows on Twitch and they haven't done anything since Triple Mania because of how badly it was received, who knows what's going to happen with this? Either way, on the card, we've got Lancelot defending the AAA Cruiserweight title against Australian Suicide. Lady Shani defending the Reina de Reinas against Fabi Apache. The great thing about that is Fabi Apache is basically saying Lady Shani shit, from what I can tell from what people have said. For the trios matches, for the trios title, Superfly, Chessman, and Averno defend against, I guess, yeah, it's a four-way, where the other three challengers being Aerostar, Drago, and Raptor. Carter Brava Jr., Mocho Cota Jr., and Tito Santana. Mocho Cota Jr. Hang on. It says Carter Brava Jr., Mocho Cota Jr., Tito Santana, and Argenis. That's four names. Oh, no. Sorry. Argenis, Bengala, and Mascara de Bronze. Christ. Gets complicated. Psycho Clan's taking on Rhea Scorpion in what's being labeled Bull Terrier. So I don't know whether there's going to be a Bull Terrier at the match. Is this a nod to the Kennel from Hell? I don't know. Dark Cuervo, Dark Scoria, and La Paca take on Dave the Clown, Monster Clown, and Murder Clown, sorry. Dave the Clown, by the way, is Marty the Moth. But I just like the fact he's called Dave the Clown. El Hijo de Fantasma and Tejano Jr. go at it again in their rivalry, this time in a cage match for the Latin American title. And Johnny Mundo versus Dr. Wagner Jr. for the AAA heavyweight title. Which I don't know whether Mundo's retaining or not. We'll have to see. Rev Pro this Saturday in Portsmouth in the UK. The only match we know of is going to be the usual top rope, over the top rope 30-man Revolution Rumble. That's all we know about it. There aren't any other matches listed, at least as of doing this on Wednesday night. Fight Club Pro has its Wrestle House 18 show, which is in conjunction with Attack Pro Wrestling at the Star Works Warehouse in Wolverhampton. The Attack Pro titles on the line. Bolarama defending against Session Mouse, which is the Session Moth, and somebody with a mouse mask, which I'm not aware of. Nothing to Prove, and also the Anti-Fun Police. Mustache Mountain have an interesting tag match against Angelico and Zack Sabre Jr. And in what could be a very tasty one, Keith Lee one-on-one with Omari. I really hope they give Omari the win, just to really stir it up. But we'll see. That could be a very tasty match. I'm intrigued. And sticking with the British Wrestling, Progress Wrestling the sold-out Chapter 62, Fear No More, Come to Dust in the Electric Ballroom in Camden. On this one, I think we've got the full card now. Pastor William Eva versus Roy Johnson. Mark Andrews and Danny Jones versus Mark Haskins and Jimmy Havoc. They'll probably expect just mentioned his name earlier. Eddie Dennis to interfere somehow in this one. In the National Progression Series, we've got Omari versus Chris Ridgway. Doug Williams one-on-one with Flash Morgan Webster. A triple threat between Chris Brooks, Zack Sabre Jr. and Trent Seven. And then the 3 title matches. Walter defends the Atlas title against Timothy Thatcher. So Ring Camp collides. Tony Storm was going to be facing Ginny for the women's title, but she's injured. So Millie McKenzie steps in. Part of me just wants Millie to win that. I don't think she will, but there you go. And the South Pacific Power Trip collides with TK Cooper challenging Travis Banks for the Progress World title. Part of me does wonder whether we're going to have the heel turn here and TK Cooper, with the help of Dahlia Black, basically wins the Progress World title. But we'll see. Smash Wrestling's got their next show this weekend, combined in with a Royal Rumble after party in London, Ontario. The Well-Oiled Machines defend their tag belts, I believe, against Killscreen, along with Daniel Garcia versus Stu Grayson, Cody Deaner versus Evil Uno, Brent Banks and Tyson Dukes taking on Sebastian Suave and Tarek. I believe that's a qualifying match for the Fate for Late event that they've got going next month. Andy Williams versus Dylan Andrews and Kevin Bennett will be in action, but it doesn't say against who. Shine in Ybor City, Florida. Shine 48 this weekend. We got Stormy Lee versus Tasha Price. Jordan Grace taking on Natalia Markova. Levers facing Brandy Lauren. Holly Dead versus Dynamite Dee. Santana taking on Renee Michelle. In the 6-woman war, Priscilla Kelly, Ariel Monroe, and Vanessa Craven take on the Cutie Pride Club of Candy Cartwright, Kira Hogan, and Dementia DeRose. Las Sicarias of Evilise and Mercedes Martinez defend the tag belts against Isla Dawn and Lady Chardonnay Darcy. And then the main event, Lufisto defends against the recently not retired Reign. Or the recently unretired Reign, I guess is the right word. And then we get into Philly's having a load of stuff. And I guess also New England. So, House of Hardcore this Friday at the ECW Arena, 2300 Arena, whatever you want to call it. The really complicated thing is, for some reason, there's 10 matches on the show. Are they all for the? Well, actually, no. Looking at it, there's 11 matches, isn't there? Yeah, there's 11 matches. How many of these are for the TV title or qualifiers? Have you got notes on that, Owen, or not?
Quotes on notes on what?
Which of the matches on the House of Hardcore show are actually the TV title first round matches?
Oh, I should be able to get that real quick. Give me a second.
I got the list of the triple threat of Luchasaurus, Matt Cross, and Willie Mack. I got Crazy Steve, MJF, Cage versus mystery opponent, Matt Riddle versus Austin Aries, Dan Maff, Ace Romero, Kevin Cross versus Little Guido, Ball James taking on Eddie Kingston, Super Crazy versus Alex Reynolds, Lisa Marie Veron versus Kenny, and Mikey versus Swoggle. And then the main event being Tommy Dreamer, Billy Gunn, and a mystery person in their corner against Nick Aldis, Joey Mercury, and Shane Douglas in their corner.
Literally, the only thing that we have, the first round match, there's 8 first round matches. It's Swoggle versus Mikey, Lisa Marie Barone versus Kenny, Alex Reynolds versus Super Crazy, Bull James versus Eddie Kingston, Killer Cross versus Guido Maritato, Dan Moff versus Ace Romero, Austin Aries versus Matt Riddle. I want to see that. And Brian Cage versus a mystery opponent.
The crazy Steve MJF match and the triple threat are separate.
That is also correct.
Also, I've just realized Luchasaurus, Matt Cross, and Willie Mack. Way to cash on Lucha Underground there, House of Hardcore. All they need now is Pinder.
Oh, boy.
So now we get complicated. So Beyond Wrestling are doing a show on Saturday, I think. Wait, does that scan?
See Cleveland in chat. Welcome.
Right. So they're doing a show at the Shikara Wrestle Factory called Spirit of 76. Saturday afternoon before Takeover. The only thing we do know about this show is that Jonathan Gresham will be defending the Powerbomb.tv independent wrestling title. That's all. Because they're doing it under the secret show sort of rules and parameters. So we shall have to see what develops there. And then the following day, it transfers over on Sunday to Worcester, Massachusetts at the Electric Haze Club. So there's a Powerbomb TV pre-show featuring Flip Gordon versus Brandon Watts, Brian Cage versus Josh Briggs, Matt Riddle versus AR Fox, and if Gresham still has the title, he'll be defending against Martin Stone. Following on from that at 3:30 Eastern, because that starts at 2 p.m. The 3:30 Eastern portion of the show is Women Wrestling's Revolution's 5-year plan. Set to appear on this show, but not currently booked in yet for anything. Alexis Faye Jackson, Casey Catal, Kennedy Copeland, Star Lander, Taylor Hendricks, and Vanity. And the matches that are confirmed so far: Holly Dead versus Delmi Exo, Solo Darling taking on Willow Nightingale, Lufisto versus Skylar, Jordan Grace versus Sonia Strong, Team Adams of Deonna Purrazzo, Karen Q, and Tasha Steeles face Black and Blue of Daviem Violette and Sami Lane. And also Tessa Blanchard and David Starr taking on Penelope Ford and Joey Janela, a.k.a. Janelope. The only reason that Tessa Blanchard's with David Starr is because Ricochet's in WWE. And then also the first ever Revolutionary Rumble. So I guess we're taking ideas from Rev Pro. The gimmick, though, is whoever wins this Rumble faces Tennille Dashwood on the next WWR show on March 25th. So the question is, who do you put against the former Emma as an interesting opponent? I guess Jordan Grace. But then again, Jordan Grace would have to lose. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Sunday afternoon, before the Rumble, the season premiere of Shikara, as they start their "we're not doing any shows outside of Philadelphia. Sorry, the rest of the world." Beware the Snowman. 7 matches confirmed so far. Proletariat Boar Moldova versus Cornelius Crummels. Travis Huckabee taking on Gran Akuma. There'll be a 4-way tag with the closers, Des Peloton of the House of Rotten Throwback, sorry. Of course, with all the points on the line. Oceania, one half of the former Sea Stars, teaming up with Murloc to take on Hermit Crab and Cajun Crawdad. Oleg the Usurper takes on Kobold. The Grand Championship on the line with Juan Francisco Coronado defending against Hype Rockwell. And what's being billed as the main event, which is interesting considering, you know, the title should be the main event, it is the Bitter Feud. 17, or at least we think it's 17, versus Ophidian, formerly known as the Whisper. So yeah, I'm actually looking at the card. Everything it's the Wrestle Factory. Apart from possibly King of Trios might not be at the Wrestle Factory. We do know it's in Philadelphia. But yeah, as it stands, interestingly, they're splitting up the Young Lions Cup. They're having the first set of matches on the 17th of March and the second set on the 31st. Then following that, the Tag World Grand Prix 2 weeks after that. The Infinite Gauntlets back in May. The Johnny Kidd Invitational seems to be a continuing trend now because that'll be on in June. Shikarasaurus Rex in August, which I think is a little bit later than it normally is. Trios over Labor Day weekend. The Lethal Lottery show in October. Then Thanksgiving week looks to be having the Cybernetico returning after its disappearing nature. Although it is listed as 7-man army, which is interesting because the Cybernetico is in Chikara R7v7. And it goes all the way through to December 8th. But yeah, as it stands, including the Hour of Power show that got recently added, all 19 shows are just at the Wrestle Factory. I don't know what's happened there. And that, I believe, is the lot for now.
Oh, good.
As it stands.
So that's going to be your show. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, whether live or in archive. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I am at Twitter I am on Twitter at Ash is my name UK, if I can get it the right way around.
Gaming with Ash and Ashley's version of Sip and Snack are coming back soon, so stay tuned for those. Oscar reactions for that podcast is coming up in the near future. I don't have a date on it. Stay tuned to my Twitter for more information on that. NXT TakeOver will not be done this weekend. Previous engagements, we will be doing the Royal Rumble on Sunday, and we got a BAFTAs podcast coming up soon. Talk about our predictions there. The Independent Spirit Awards is coming up as well as our final Oscars podcast are coming up all very soon. So yeah, we got predictions for the Oscars, and then of course after every single award show is over, we'll go live to talk all about them again. And back here next week for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. Let me check to make sure I can say that right now because I don't think that's one of the dates yet. No, it's not that I'm aware of. Yeah, we should be fine for next week. We'll see what happens. So that's going to be your show. Back here on Monday for Raw. Back here on Sunday for the Rumble. And follow me on Twitter at Sro and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page of Popcast Network. And if you have any ideas for Sip and Snack or Versus and the other regular segments of the network, shoot me an email, SuroandDisney@gmail.com. AJ content coming up this weekend. Versus and AJ's movie reviews are returning. Sip and Snack should be coming out to you tomorrow at some point. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's what we're going to say about that.
Good riddance, Enzo. Good riddance, Enzo.